Good evening, everyone. October 8th, 2025. It is 5:09, calling to order the work session meeting of the Board of Trustees. Clerk Perillo, can you please confirm the presence of a quorum?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Shepro?
Present.
Trustee Giuliano?
Present.
Trustee Franco?
Present.
Trustee Hill?
Present.
Trustee Urinsky?
Present.
Thank you. With that, we have a quorum, Mayor. Attorney Moran and Treasurer Gaffgar with us as well.
Good to see everyone. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would like to start this meeting with a quick video that, I don't know if everybody's seen it or not yet, but it was made by a village resident named Jeff Norman. He could not be with us tonight, but he typically is working here with our audiovisual display of the live meetings and then puts together the YouTube presentation of that meeting. And this was a project, a labor of love on his part, unbeknownst to us. He was putting it together without our knowledge, or he just wanted to do it. It's basically, he called it a love letter to the village of Port Jefferson. And I just wanted to show it here tonight and to see how everybody feels about it. Okay, ready? Do we have sound?
Lily was a lonely girl, living all alone in a lonely world. She wanted something, nothing more, just a place she could call home. She hopped a flight to Miami Beach, Tucson, Arizona, and Jamaica, Queens. But there was something missing there, so she turned and said to me, "Take me home, by the ferry dock, underneath the stars. Oh, back where I belong." Now Billy was a rocket man, floating down the coast to the promised land. He loved the sun, but he missed his heart as an apple caught his eye. Tommy said, "We miss you, man. Take that rocket back to Port Jefferson." He was feeling down, so he took a drag as the moon blinded the sky. And so he left it all behind. Take me home, by the ferry dock, underneath the stars. Oh, back where I belong.
When we used to walk by the '83,
down the west side of Main Street. Now we barely talk, so I'll wait and see if everything is there where it used to be. Take me home, by the ferry dock, underneath the stars. Back where I belong. Take me back where I belong. 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 Take me home, by the ferry dock, underneath the stars. Oh,
Very good. Very good.
Credits, the credits. I know. I know. So he invited us to do that walk. You guys didn't know about it, now you know why. So the Cuomo brothers had that song that's been in existence for a while, and he heard it, he recognized it, and he ran out to the East End to meet with them in the summer. Like, he talked me through a little bit of this. I had no idea what this was going to end up looking like at the end of the day. So he went out to meet with them. He got their permission, and just they worked with him on it. And now it's a new rendition of, a music video of their song. So it did make me laugh, and it made me cry too. So I was so grateful to him for putting that together, and just wanted to get your reactions to it.
Very good. Very well done.
Okay, so first up on our agenda is Jennifer Hildreth. Come on up, bring a chair.
Okay.
Can you give us the update on the records management program? Closer, closer, closer. You need a mic.
I don't really need a mic now. Everybody knows me.
Yeah, but there's more people watching this than
Oh,
just
I'm
us.
sorry.
No. I mean
I forget.
virtually,
I
yeah.
forget.
So this is a presentation to the board, but just everybody.
Good
does-
evening, everyone. I'd like to give you all an update on the record project, the record retention project. It's going very well. I'd say we are at about 100 and, I want to say 40 boxes that are prepared and ready for shredding. They have all been notated as per the county, and the next step will be the clerk and the department heads reviewing the items in the boxes. Sorry,
They've been
old business.
notated per the state. And
So if you guys can go back and forth, because I know, Sylvia, you'll have things to add to this too.
Sorry, and my deputy and I will be going up to the facility, to our facility next week, so that we can look through the boxes, sign off on the state forms, and then ask each of the department heads to do the same.
What's the timing of that?
We're doing it next week, so.
I will warn you, they are super heavy. So bring someone, but 149
No.
boxes of super heavy is not fun.
No.
It's been a little physically challenging for me, which I know that some of you won't believe. But it has been, because constantly moving, we have a lot of stuff in this building. It's actually overwhelming to me that we have so much from so many years. Anyway, my update is, the boxes are numbered, they are labeled, it's going quite well. We are running out of space, so that was why I broached the subject of doing the first shred, so we could create some more room to store more. And we're moving along slowly but surely. There are, unfortunately for me, as the project person, there are a lot of things that I'm unfamiliar with that are not really on the retention schedule, so I'm forced to bother the clerk constantly to ask questions, which I feel badly about, but the record retention schedule is 400 pages, but it's still missing 7,000 items that I need to know, because every municipality has different things go on, and being that we have never done a purge that I'm aware of in our ever, this is like a first-time deal that's well overdue. So the update is going great. I'm growing huge biceps and triceps, and all good.
And the labels that are required for the town of Brookhaven were received today.
Yay!
So that is phase 2 of the
Imagine that my
project.
life is that so exciting to me.
So then we'll have even more space when we work with Brookhaven and get boxes up there.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited about that. I'm still a little leery of some of the areas in the building, hidey holes and such spots that I don't know what's in them. And I also discovered a closet that none of you have ever seen at the country club with some really cool, Bob, you'll appreciate this because you're around here a really long time, some really cool old country club ephemera collateral. I was like, what is this in like a very weird random closet.
Wait, is it in
that
binders?
the Lessings people opened for me. It's
Oh.
just a whole
It was cleared out of
variety.
the general manager's office.
Yeah, but like
It's
some
Phil
old
Griffith's collections.
stuff.
Yeah, it's a historic collection.
I
of
didn't really
club.
pour into it because I'm not, I got to stay on track with what I'm
Like
doing.
90 binders.
No, not that much stuff, but interesting stuff. Pricing sheets from 30 years ago, 20 years ago, just weird country
Yeah.
club
Mhm.
ephemera,
Yeah.
collateral.
Yeah.
Hey, Jen.
Yep.
Last time you gave us an update, you said we were X% of the way through. I know you're finding things every day, so if you were to recalibrate based on...
35%.
What?
35%.
Okay. Okay,
There's
and what's
some-
the oldest documentation you've found? Just out of curiosity.
The Treasury Department had by far the oldest everything, as they should. because
what was
they're-
the earliest
they're doing
year
payroll.
you've come across?
1964. So we incorporated in 63, is that correct?
Yes.
I should know that, living here for 50 years. They went back because obviously the first year was a working year, so the year that it was completed was 64, and we had the payroll books. They were written, handwritten ledgers. And I'll also share, only because it's kind of cool information, because I'm a resident and I love Port Jeff. There are so many families and people that have gone through this building, father to son to grandchild, that the same names are in the books from 1964, and then all of a sudden in 78, there's that same name of like the next generation of that family or whatever. I've just found that pretty interesting. It's been an interesting experience for me, in addition to heavy, hard, and a pain in you what, but it's been very interesting.
We're looking forward to the book.
Yeah. I just look forward to the end of the project. I
Me
want
too.
to, I want to get it done. I want to get it done. But it was far more comprehensive than I knew, and I think anybody knew.
Yeah. No, I
Based
knew.
on what we have here.
I know.
Far more than
Yes.
we could even possibly
Tip of
think
the
about.
iceberg. Tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg, right. Any questions? And congratulations, Bob.
Thank you.
Any questions? No? Okay. Come in.
One more, go ahead, Matt, if you have a question.
If we're at 35% now, what would you anticipate time-wise?
Can't tell you that.
Okay.
Only because I keep running into.
You just keep exploring and finding more stuff?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
And finding out the actual placement of these items, like what, I saw somebody, some of us don't even know, even based on the retention guide. And then Sylvia has to make phone calls, and we have to look. It's a very complicated project. That is my answer.
Thank you for everything you're doing. Keep going.
I never say die, is all I have to say. Thank you for
Well,
having
that's why you haven't been at the gym recently, because you've been lifting all these boxes.
So just stick around for a minute because we have a little demonstration, just not related to this. It's off the agenda, but it came to me today as a surprise, and I wanted to share it with the board.
Ooh, is it exciting news?
Yeah, very exciting. This is for you.
I know what it is now. Giving it away fumbling.
Elizabeth has horrible tasting coffee.
All right already, just drink it. She's saying the same, she's saying that about you.
Elizabeth didn't do this to you.
She's saying that about you.
No, a barista did it to him.
As I type
No, he said he grabbed it.
as I type this URL in, can you please watch what
I own
goes
it.
into the URL?
How are we?
And NY, Mayor, portchefny.gov.
Stephen, are we not hooked up to the internet?
Stephen?
NY.
NY,
Portchef
portchefny.gov.
Okay, so, Andy.
Very good. Great.
Very nice.
I'm just gonna leave that up and for the whole meeting. But so thank you so much to Teresa, Tab Technologies, and Social Butterfly for working on this like she just was not giving up. So and we're in compliance. We're in process of
Ahead of
getting. This
time.
is a New York State compliance, is mandated by the governor. So she can't, hold us hostage anymore. But we're in the process of getting our emails converted to .gov as well.
Yes.
This is something that, we converted our website first, right? From that old WordPress crazy format to this. And now this seemed like, this is like magic. It's like making sausage, but, because you have no idea what goes in, what it takes to get that done. And then all of a sudden, there it is. So,
I have a team of professional, whoops.
no, I
Yeah,
prefer
no.
the.
But I'm, first of all, as the person in the room who probably cares the most about cybersecurity, I am doing the wave right now, right?
Mhm.
Thank you, because I actually know what that takes to do correctly. And that's awesome. Wow. Congratulations, Teresa, ITS. Way to go.
Surprise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now, if you go to the old portjeff.com, will it bring you to that? Or
It'll probably redirect.
it would redirect you? Okay.
Let's find out.
It has to do that for a
I
while.
believe
Yeah.
Teresa can set it that way, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a very good question, Bob.
That's standard.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Look at us in the modern times. Thank you for making me wait for that.
Looks like
That's so
both
great.
sites are live, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't redirect it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because,
Still
because
exists.
but it's still,
Yeah.
Congratulations to all of you and all of us.
So it still shows .com.
mhm.
So,
All right, I have one last thing to say,
Both
and that,
websites work.
yeah.
It doesn't take you to the other one.
Right now.
Right, yeah.
It's brand new.
the deadline was end of December, so I just want to point out it's October
Beginning of October.
8th, so awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like Jen said earlier, isn't it weird what we get so excited and happy about now?
But it's really good. It really is good. And being ahead of the ball is the way to go.
Yeah, so
Thank you
grateful
all.
to her. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Okay. We are going into reports, and I'd like to start with Village Clerk.
Thank you. Mayor, the attorney suggested that we take the agenda out of order for a moment and start with the motion to close. The written public comment portion of the public hearing regarding a petition for a change of zoning classification from professional office, PO district, to moderate density residence, RM district, submitted by Beechwood Port Jefferson LLC for the property located at 450 Myrtle Avenue, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777. May I have that motion?
On the motion, Mayor, just to reiterate to the board, if you recall, at the meeting, we kept it open till this meeting for written comment from the public, for those who couldn't make it. We did receive a handful of written comment. This process would close the public portion of the meeting and allow this board to begin its work after reviewing all of the comments and the submissions by the applicant. And the hearing itself was continued to the next regularly scheduled board meeting, which is October
22nd.
22nd. If in fact the board is not ready to discuss it on the 22nd, because it is a lot of information, we'll handle that as it comes accordingly.
Okay. Did we have a motion?
We need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Mayor, if we're beginning with my report, is that correct? Thank you. So I have several announcements. The first is that the village offices will be closed on October 13th in honor of Columbus Day. The annual Harvest Fest celebration will take place on October 18th and 19th. There will be two public hearings during our October 22nd agenda meeting. The first is the one we just discussed. The second is a public hearing regarding a proposed amendment to the time of filing on the annual financial disclosure form in Chapter 41 of our code, which is ethics. Lastly, there is a regular quarterly meeting of the Board of Ethics scheduled for Monday, the 27th of October at 5:45 PM, right here in the courtroom. On my report, under bids and RFPs, there is an update to the RFQ, which is request for quotation for dumpsters and dumpster maintenance. That legal notice will appear in tomorrow's newspaper and has a return date of the 17th of October at 1 PM. The deputy clerk collaborated with DPW, so I thank everyone for that collaboration in terms of the scope of work, as it were.
Village dumpsters, village-owned dumpsters.
Yes, Mayor,
Okay.
village owned them. Thank you for that. We spoke about records management. For the agenda on the 22nd, there will be additions. 2 of them are to rename East Beach Road to Village Beach Road and a renaming of West Beach Road to Beach Club Road. I am working again in tandem with DPW. We're working with DOT and the post office because all those entities are included in such a change. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. I would like to.
What's the impetus for
Sorry.
the change?
The impetus for the change is the fact that those streets are not, and correct me, Treasurer, if I'm wrong, are not recognized by the state in terms of our CHIPS funding.
Interesting.
So we cannot receive certain fundings for those streets for that reason. So
We can't use the funding to maintain those streets.
But what is the name change?
It's a designation, actually.
it's a designation.
Okay.
So we have to designate the streets.
So,
you can't use the same names as the designation? Like, we can't just leave the same names? Is there a reason why we have to change the name?
It's my understanding that we have to change them because they're not recognized that way. So
Okay.
there is no state acknowledgement of the names of the street. One street has like 3 names,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we
it's-
chose one.
Yeah, so we
that-
chose,
okay, that
we
makes
chose
sense then.
one
Got
of,
it.
similar to, we had surf, we had pass. Okay, similar concept. I'd like to report briefly on the regatta. And it was really a spectacular event this year and a very concerted effort. We had participation by the Chamber, the Conservancy, real estate agencies in town, the school helped with their website, with the electronic backpacks. The village obtained a venue sponsor for the Village Center, thanks in great part to the mayor. Village Hall, we had brochures, we posted all the information for the regatta on the website. We provided 5 village flags. This year was a great change in terms of technology for the yacht club and the foundation. They had an updated brochure. There was a scan code on the brochure and the ability to actually pay through Zephy. And all those changes really helped. We, the village, worked with the yacht club to help create the pole flags that actually are reusable because they don't have dates on them and they just specify the time of year. We had a new check-in area that worked out great. It was by necessity. And one of the suggestions that I made to Dave Hubbard, who was the chair this year, was that we had a lot of walk-by traffic. So we had a lot of people coming by and saying, hey, can I jump on a boat? My suggestion is that we oversell the tickets because we did have people that aren't showing up. So if we have a standby line, we can capitalize on that, literally and figuratively. So that's one of the things, one of the recommendations I'll be making at the follow-through meeting on the 14th. Another recommendation is that every year it's a fight to figure out how many shirts to buy of which size. If we have that on the application, which size shirt do you need? It won't be perfect, but it'll get us a lot closer. So these are things that are coming up. We, the village, was very close to a trophy win this year. We had, very close, we had.
did win a trophy, I'm just saying.
A different trophy, we're getting to that, different trophy. We did have a couple of mechanical issues on 2 boats that literally took the wind out of our sails, so we'll get at it next year. But as always, we had a spectacular time on Chuck's boat, and we want to thank him and his family. So that's my report about the regatta.
Thank you.
We do have several resolutions this evening. We're taking a little bit out of order because we do have time constraints on some of them. And with that, resolution number 10825 is a resolution approving the attached proposal submitted by Terry Contracting and Materials, Inc. in the amount of $28,294.50 for labor and materials associated with the reforestation of the East Beach Bluff, with $25,720 of the total paid through the use of ARPA funds, and rescinding resolution number 14102-324, citing reforestation work to be performed by Coastal Technologies. May I have that motion?
Motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
The discussion for a second? If we
Oh,
don't
sure.
mind. We're going to fill in those ravines. Are we going to just plant the ravines, those big washout areas? Are we just planting them, or are we going to regrade that area and then plant? From what it looked like in the original proposal, that they weren't going to grade that out. Did we speak to any of the engineers just to make sure that that was a viable option?
So their recommendation is to rake it out a little bit, not to disrupt or disturb
Okay.
what's there, but just to do a little raking of regrading through rakes. And yes, but if, the more they disturb it, the more it would,
Disturb.
Yeah, but
yeah,
some-
be disturbed,
be
yeah.
disturbed.
So-
Exactly.
You can't be riding equipment over that.
Okay,
I
because
would
some of
think.
them are pretty deep,
Mm.
those ravines. You know, I went and looked at it. They were like 5 to 8 feet deep, some of them. So I'm not sure that, well, we'll have to see if it's viable, if it's going to work. I just think that it would probably be a little better if we graded that out a little bit, at least added some material to it. But if you're saying the engineers are saying that it's fine that way, then I guess we'll go forward with it. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 2-10825 is a resolution approving the attached 2026 rates and membership classifications for the Port Jefferson Country Club as reviewed by the Board of Governors and as approved on September 30th, 2025 by the Country Club Management Advisory Council. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second, but discussion, please.
Sure.
You know there's a typo?
Uh-huh.
The resident discount is supposed to be 40%, right? Sorry. The resident discount is supposed to be 40%. I don't think that is what's happening in these proposed rates.
So what we did was a 16% across the board increase on the dues. When we calculate the differential, we don't take into account the assessment or the
Minimum.
food and beverage minimum, right?
Right, but, so a resident dues would be 45.31, and then that is 64% of a non-resident, which is,
What are you looking at?
7,025.
Which membership?
Full golf member, single.
The non-resident?
Yeah, that's the non-resident versus the resident.
So the dues are 7,025.
Yes.
That's the rate exchange. So that's not a 40%?
I'm just double checking it now. But,
If I may, that number includes the assessment, which is not part of the 40%.
That's what we're saying.
No, the
only-
74.25 is the assessment.
The only percentage is on the dues.
right.
Yeah.
This is where you'll see it on the sheet.
Um,
You do the math on the first column on that sheet.
let's see.
Yeah, that's a 36% difference.
Yeah. It should be 40, correct?
Well, we've gone through this process with the Board of Governors on, well, a couple of years, and I don't know that it was ever codified that it was 40%. So what we needed to do was make the books balance in terms of what we needed to take in in membership revenue in addition to the million plus that we get from other revenues. And that's where we landed. So the approval process that we went through was going through the Board of Governors, who reviewed it, made their adjustments, and then followed up with the CCMAC, who did the same, and this was what was approved and put forward.
So. just
Recommended.
Recommended, right?
On the
She said
Boggs part, it's
put forward.
recommended. On the CCMAC part, it
Recommended.
requires their approval. Like
But they recommend
actually
to us.
control.
It's all advisory, they don't control.
Yeah.
Well,
It's all advisory.
I mean, in the code,
But they
it
endorse
says
it.
In the code, they recommend.
it's actually
Advise.
stronger than recommendation in the code.
So while we're talking about the Board of Governors, not very long ago, I'm sorry. what?
Let's
No, finish
let's
what you
sort
said. I
this out
apologize.
though, because
No, let's pull up the code. I
the
mean-
but either the code or not code, the my understanding was that it was the agreed upon policy that the resident discount was 40% of the fee that
Okay.
it would be to non-residents, and that's not what it is.
Can you show me who made that designation and went, like, is that codified somewhere?
Would you like me to take, I can take this.
Okay.
Please.
So the 40% applies on the rate only. On these two classification sheets, the dues that's written in the parentheses includes the rate and the assessment together. So in prior years, it's always been the rate, just the rate, which would be the first column on that projected sheet, which if you do the 3741 from the 6235, 60%, which is the 40% discount on all of those classifications. But when you add the assessment in, and this goes back to all the previous years, that number changes when you add the assessment in, but the assessment's not part of that 40%. It's always been on just the rate, because the assessment's a flat fee number that's applied evenly across the board in past years.
So to discuss the assessment, the $300 assessment that was applied last year, what that did was circumvent the resident discount by 50%. Now, what we had a discussion when I met you at the Finance Committee with Trustee Ugrinsky, and at that meeting, I asked, what are we paying differently with that $300 special assessment that we didn't pay the year before? And we took the expenses that are being paid with that $300 assessment were taken out of the operating expenses the year before. What that does now is minimize the resident discount by 50% by utilizing that $300 assessment across the board. That should just be basic operating expenses and should just be put together with the rate increase. There is no need for a special assessment of $300. All that does is circumvent the resident discount. It should be placed, and we had this discussion, Stephen, you and I, that there was really no need for that assessment. It could have just been put in operating expenses, that there were other factors that came into play for it. So my question is, if you eliminated the $300 assessment and just gave it a straight rate increase, would you be able to pay the expenses that you currently have?
So Matt, one of the decisions we made is
can
putting
I,
this
Tina, before you go
together.
there, can I have
No,
Steve
no,
answer that question?
this is important, right?
Okay.
You'll note in your package, the page with the blue at the bottom
Okay.
is not what is going out to the public. This is being floated to us so that everyone understands what the components are. If you look at the second page, when I go to the golf course and I'm paying my dues, I ask, what is the check I write out for my dues? And by the way, how much was the food and beverage minimum this year? Those are the two questions I ask, right? And that's what's on the next pages. So,
Again, back to my
so yes, the operating costs are covered. Either way you look at it, what is,
by implementing the $300 assessment, you circumvent for the residents of this community the discount they're entitled to.
you're implying that that was a deliberate obfuscation in some way. It is debt and lease costs. That's all it is.
That was paid the year before you used the $300 assessment out of the operating expenses. So my question is, why did you need to have an assessment rather than just
Exactly.
making a straight rate increase?
Well, I believe this village has undergone a lot of changes in its process for generally accepted municipal accounting practices. This is one of them. This is a generally accepted municipal accounting practice, and I have seen a couple of the explanations that you've written explaining that multiple times, not once, not twice. Lease and capital debt, capital lease, capital debt, under general municipal accounting practices are to be paid via an assessment. So we're just straightening out the ship, Matt.
So, Stephen, you can't pay the lease equipment out of the operating expenses. You have to have an assessment?
Trustee Franco, the
The
math
question is to
doesn't
Stephen
change.
for a minute. I'm just asking.
Either way,
Well,
so
no, it does. It
what
changes
is the
for-
point?
It changes for the residents.
Where the discount lands.
The assessment has always been the same across the
Right.
board.
So
What
Is-
you're looking for is if I'm hearing you correctly, and sounds like this is what you're saying, is that non-residents should pay a higher assessment than residents.
Yes.
And that doesn't comport with any
Hold on.
past practice.
Well, I think the question really is, according to the accounting rules that we have to stick to, does it have to be a special assessment, or could it be through dues? Because if there's an
being
opportunity,
what?
whatever so like the lease
Lease
costs.
payments and
so
debt.
because if there's an opportunity to put it in the dues and still be compliant with the accounting principles that we have to stick to, that would be a means to protect the resident discount.
So we give the residents a discount on, or the residents experience a discount on the dues. However, the assessment is based on, it's a head count metric. It's how many people are using the course, and it's evenly distributed.
I understand that, and I'm not arguing against a flat
but
assessment.
Depending
but
on
the
how
things,
you add up the components,
Yes.
you get a different answer, is
exactly.
what you're saying.
So the question is, the components that are making up the cost of the assessment, do all of those have to be paid for through an assessment, or can some or any of them be paid for using dues?
Well, debt and lease, capital leases have to be paid through an assessment.
The capital leases and the bond debt are treated by the auditors, by New York State, as capital debt, because it's investment in your assets. Your leases count on your asset sheet, and the debt you have to carry. And New York State had all municipalities had to change the way that they used to document their leases. In prior years, it used to be within the general operating areas, including the general fund, mind you. And the state said, not anymore. Leases go in capital. For the country club, capital debt has always been paid for with the assessment. Once they transferred that lease over to capital debt, now the leases and the capital bond debt are tracked and paid for with an assessment, because it's viewed as a capital improvement to the entire course, for the maintenance, all of the equipment that's being used, the golf carts, these are utilized by all membership, and that's why that was done. And it went through the Board of Governors, and it went through the CCMAC with this recommendation. Ultimately, the Board of Trustees approved it, and that's why we have this the way that it is now, because the state had us move capital leases to a capital debt line item, which is tracked in the 9000 series, 9788 to be specific. So that's why.
Okay, so I'm just going to repeat what I think I understood back to you. So you're saying is everything in the assessment has to be paid for through the assessment.
Yes.
Okay.
And it can't be paid through operating expenses.
Reasonable.
Yeah, that's
Makes sense.
good that everyone
Okay.
we're on the same
Understands
page
it.
there, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'm confused about the $300 where is the $300 assessment?
That was
That was last year.
last year.
Last year, okay, I'm looking at this thing, so there's another, okay, thank you. I missed that part. Thanks.
Any other discussion?
Yes, so the increase for this year is going to be, on top of the assessment, is going to be an additional 16%, approximately?
The dues have increased.
Yes,
16%.
the rate increase 16% on the rates, and this is to cover expenses. The assessment change, if you look at the notations, because we're in preparation for the new golf cart lease, which is coming to an end. So that was also gone through both the Board of Governors and the CCMAC for approval, and everybody's aware that it's a necessity that has to happen.
Were the proposed rates shared with the general membership?
No.
Is it
No, not
usually?
typically. It's the CCMAC.
Mhm.
And have we made
And
any?
never have we ever, like what Zena did this year, and Stephen, and working with.
The Board of Governors?
No,
Sorry.
no, I know what I'm gonna say here. Working with the staff, the maintenance facility staff, at the country club, as well as the pro shop staff and, membership office. These rates were put together to be responsive to the needs of the golf course. And in past situations where whatever the circumstances were that led the process, that was never a consideration. So this is addressing the needs of the golf course. The other thing that you should note is there will be a slug on each of the pamphlets that we create that if there is a need, bless you, if there is a need for reassessment due to an emergency situation, because we don't have a capital reserve for the country club right now, if there is a need for an assessment to occur during the season due to unforeseeable circumstances, that would be something that would be implemented through a borrowing circumstance. Hasn't happened in recent years, but you never know with the golf course what can happen.
So, Stephen, can I ask you a math question? With the 16% increase, what would the percentage, I guess it's $365 is the new assessment? Is my math right? That totals the $790?
No.
It's the $425.
It went from $725 to $790.
To $790.
So $65 increase on the assessment.
On the 300, well, all right. So what percentage of the rate is that, of just the $365? Is that like 7% of the rate? Is it 6% of the rate? What is that? Because it looks to me that we're really, if we're going to keep this assessment in place and increase it by 16%, you're talking about like a 23% increase on the fees from a year and a half ago, from when this assessment was put in place.
Seems like a question for the board, not the treasurer. Who sets the fees?
No, I understand that. I'm just saying I'm just trying to figure out what the percentage of that is so my math is right, or close to right.
So,
Basically, the question is, what's the total cost increase percentage-wise?
So it varies by
11.8%.
membership category, right? But it's a straight 16 across the board with one exception. What was the exception?
The modifieds.
Yeah.
So what was the number?
It's roughly 11.8 over last year, but that's on the resident full membership. There are, it's in that range, 11 to 12%.
Understood. I think that I understand that there are expenses at the course.
Yeah, listen, we're not building in any extravagant projects.
Did we build in the
There are-
general manager's salary again this year, or did we eliminate?
There
that?
are some hiring slots that are being considered for next year. So those salary dollars are in there, yeah.
And how much
for
does that
next year.
total out to be?
150?
Yeah.
But we may be adding 2 headcount that takes up that instead of a GM. So those are decisions the guys that are really responsible for the place are now considering in terms of staffing for next year.
Are you talking about?
But we went through pretty deliberately line by line in terms of the country club operating expenses, where the major increases were, what we needed to do, where we could save money, right? So I think, I think Pat and Jake have done a really good job working with us to ensure that we can expect the kind of conditions that we've had, maybe even a little better because of like chemical buying opportunities. But I think it's really, from my purview, the first time that everybody's starting to think, how do I deliver more with less? So, given the increases these guys have been experiencing on materials and labor, I'm actually very happy where we landed.
I'm sure this is not gonna, listen, I think when any of the members, resident members and non-resident members here, they're getting a 16% increase. That's excessive. I'm not sure, I wasn't part of the process, but there has to be a way that we can reduce that 16%. It's excessive. We are gonna lose membership. You're gonna drive members away with this increase. And you could mark the day today. I can tell you, we're gonna drive members away. So if
Well, you do know that we are about to approve an analysis of the entire operating model of the place. So if we have to change things relative to the budget, maybe there's something, that we do differently. But, so I would just wait until we have that readout.
what's
As
the
part of
increase in the
the-
golf carts fees? I know that
Oh, that
our
was-
lease is up, and how much did that go up, if you don't mind me asking?
The lease fees went up, $50 in the assessment? Mhm.
I believe it's around $2,300. I don't have the numbers in front of me, the
Okay.
exact numbers. I could get back
It's
to
around
you
about,
on that.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's-
But yeah.
And while we were negotiating the lease, we also, the guys negotiated in GPS that was now coterminous with our existing lease instead of selling us something that was off-cycle. So, there's a lot of vendor management that's going on behind the scenes that represents savings, cost savings to the village,
And
or
so
to the country club, rather.
the superintendent had an agronomist come and take a look at the course, given the conditions that the course was experiencing this summer in the peak stress time, which was July and August. And he came in, and I'll just read his assessment of the budget. We discussed the golf course budget in detail. For 2025, the operating budget for Port Jeff Country Club will be $1.2 million, and there will be approximately 35,000 rounds. There are many ways to examine a golf course operating budget, but if you look at this operating budget relative to the rounds, that is equal to $34.28 per round played. This is extremely low in modern golf for any golf course, especially a private club. On average, most private clubs, especially on Long Island, are double to even triple that cost per round relative to a maintenance budget. If you would like the golf course to improve, I feel that there needs to be significantly more funding placed on the golf course from an operating budget standpoint and a capital budget standpoint. When I mention capital budget, that includes many different aspects, including driving range improvements, rebuilding some tees, sodding areas out, tree work, irrigation system, and pumps, to just name a few that could be completed to make improvements. So, from somebody who looks at these courses, saying that our maintenance budget is the equivalent of $35 a round, where other courses are $105 a round. We are doing so much more. We are using, spending wisely, being efficient, and effective in the maintenance management of the golf course, even almost to the detriment of the golf course. So I hope that helps.
So the assessment goes towards lease payments, debt. Is that it, or what else would?
For this budget, the capital lease debt and the capital assessment, correct. The bond.
Which is the, what does that include, Zena?
That's one that we're paying, whoops. We're paying that off, I think, in 3 years. What was that originally for?
The
Irrigation.
irrigation and the maintenance building improvements.
Right.
And then the lease is for the equipment that they use to maintain the golf course. And the golf carts.
And the cards, yeah.
So the golf carts have always been in that number, am I right?
In the lease number?
Mhm.
Yes.
Mm. Any other comments, discussion?
I'll just say thank you so much that it is not 10 o'clock at night, December 19th, in a rainstorm in Village Hall or Village Center where we can't hear anything.
I've conveniently forgotten that night.
Obviously, I'm not over it yet.
Yeah, and look, we're going to go through a journey with this Kemper thing, so we're all going to
If we
learn a
approve
lot.
it, if it gets approved.
If it gets approved, that's right.
So Zena did, like I said, Zena and Stephen did a really good job working through these numbers, sitting with the spreadsheets, with Pat, with Jake, and Larry,
And you.
where I was needed, but you guys did the heavy lifting, and, I think we're considering this as a 360-degree project, not, piecemeal or, hey, afterthought kind of thing. It's all in. And the good news is we can adjust it as we go. Like if we don't have to spend money in certain areas, the treasurer can help make adjustments for things that the golf course might need where we don't have to borrow or spend more money to do.
Yeah. But this is what I would call active financial management, right? Again, I don't think in the history of Port Jefferson, I'm aware of any time where every department head was looking at every single account they had and working with the treasurer on an ongoing basis to recalibrate as needed. If costs begin to spiral out of control in one, he hits that in that month or the following month, not at the end of the year where we're all of a sudden going, why are we so far in the hole, right? So, I mean, I think everybody, the department heads and the treasurer.
You'll need to download one.
Okay,
Thank you.
I have a voice, but, anyway, so, I appreciate the work that everybody's been putting into the ongoing financial management.
Just one more question. Did we hit our membership projection?
For this last season.
Yeah, for this last
The
season.
budgeted membership projection, we did not. I can
Yeah,
answer
I
that.
think we were
Yeah.
21 short.
21.
Around there, yeah.
Hmm.
21 short.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no more questions, can we have a vote?
Yes, we have a motion and a
All in
second.
favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Resolution number 3, 10825, resolution approving the proposal in the amount of $40,000 submitted by Kemper Sports for the long-term strategic planning of the Port Jefferson Country Club for the bid opening on August 25th, 2025, as reviewed by the Board of Governors and as approved on September 30th, 2025, by the Country Club Management Advisory Council. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Did everyone have a chance to go through? Are you missing any evals from anyone?
Discussion? Everybody had their deadline to get their responses in, and so, do you want to give us do we have that tally?
What did come in? in terms of, you
It
know,
overwhelmingly
selection?
came in for Kemper.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and that's, that was the vote from the CCMAC also. And the Board of Governors. So it was fairly unanimous across the three entities.
So all in favor?
Another question. This is coming out of, where is this being paid?
Next resolution.
Next resolution.
Okay.
I ordered them that way.
Can we have that answer before we vote on it?
Sure.
Read the resolution.
So, resolution number 4, the next resolution, and I ordered it this way on the agenda purposefully, right? So we're decreasing expenses for line item CR 7990 by $40,000 and increasing expenses for line item same, 400 contractual expense. So it's basically only at no cost, at no net change to the budget, it's only a budget transfer. So that having been said, we're on resolution number 3 with a motion and a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 4, 10825, resolution to fund the approved long-term strategic planning proposal for the Port Jefferson Country Club at no net change to the budget by authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget transfer number 39 as follows. Decrease expenses for line item CR 7990.1 PJCC full-time by $40,000 and increase expenses for line item CR 779.4 contractual expense by $40,000. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Sorry, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 5, 10825, resolution appointing Todd Feldman to the Country Club Management Advisory Council, CCMAC. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second with discussion.
Okay.
I was unable to get, I don't know if anybody was able to get a hold of Mr. Feldman. I was finally able to get in touch with him today. We're going to speak tomorrow, so I can't really vote on him unless we, unless I kind of speak to him and see what's going on. So I wish, maybe we can table this until the 22nd.
Well, you can vote your conscience.
I always do.
I know you do. I know
Is
you
he
do.
not allowed to engage in the CCMAC meetings if he's not been approved by the board? Because
No,
we
he's
kind
not.
of need him.
No, he's not.
No. Yeah, we need
Okay.
his, you
All
know.
right.
Is there a meeting between now and the next?
Yeah,
Okay.
So
That's why I'm
let's
asking.
talk about, everybody see his resume, his background? The one thing that's missing on the Country Club Management Advisory Council from a standpoint of all the areas of expertise that is represented is a food and beverage sort of retail aspect. So this is what Todd Feldman brings. Todd Feldman also served on the Board of Governors in the early 2000s. He actually was involved in the review of the plans when Lombardi built out that building in 2003 or 4. And he's got a lot of experience at the golf course, and it's a volunteer position. Putting him up for the appointment, and I'm ready to have a vote. Long-term resident.
And he would be the
he would be.
Seventh
Member.
member. Seventh member. He's a resident member.
resident member?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have a motion. We have a second.
We do.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 6, 10825, resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to create a new capital fund revenue line item to be known as H 4960.000.2, Federal Aid Disaster Assistance FEMA DR 4839. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second. Can we just discuss what this actually is, and then Just a reminder to include those descriptions
Yeah,
in the,
where did the little, you know,
a lot of
plain
folks at
language
home are very
explanation?
appreciative of it, and when you go back and look at old agendas, it's extremely helpful.
Yeah, so, my apologies, for these types of, where we can't, they're not self-explanatory with the FEMA, I will do so, so my apologies on that. Because 6, 7, and 8 all kind of go together. This is from the August 18th, 19th rainstorm from last year. This is that FEMA proposal that was approved, and this is to create a revenue line to receive FEMA funding specifically for those FEMA projects that need to go into capital, which would be the Sands Lake culvert, which we have made payments on and are looking to be reimbursed for that.
So part of the FEMA approved projects was a portion of repaving Village Beach Road, which it'll be about, I don't know, what's the percentage, 35% of it or something like that?
FEMA's paying 75%.
No, not what they're paying.
Oh, of the road
percentage
itself?
of the
Yeah, about,
roadway.
yeah.
So they would only approve a certain amount of the roadway to repave, and this goes into the part of the clerk's report where we're trying to identify Village Beach Road with the state as a road that can be submitted as a part of a project for repaving. So we're looking at next spring completing the rest of the paving project. So we can do the paving this year on that portion that FEMA will pay, and then we can go back to CHIPS, our state money, for street maintenance and sidewalk maintenance, and use that to repave the rest of Village Beach Road, which is a disaster right now. So terrible condition.
Yeah, and this is the worst part that FEMA
Yeah,
was
this is the
willing
part
to-
that FEMA identified as having been affected by the August storms. Yeah, it might not be the worst part. It's all worse. It's all the worst part.
No, it's good that we're covering off on this. And really, the resolutions are just setting up the appropriate accounts in the system to do the accounting correctly, but
Right, we do need the plain language explanations for these. Yeah, I agree. Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Okay, well, motion carries.
Resolution number 7, 10825, resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to create a new capital fund expense line item to be known as H51102053, FEMA 4839 Village Beach Road paving. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 8, 10825, resolution to fund the required 25%, which is $14,493.75, of the total for the Village Beach Road paving project as required by FEMA for grant funding related to the August 19th, 2024 and August 19th, 2024 weather events, with the funding resulting in no net change to the budget by authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget transfer number 37 as follows. Decrease expenses for line item A, 5110405 paving by $14,493.75, and increase expenses for line item A, 9950.9 interfund transfer by $14,493.75. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 9, 10825 is a resolution to fund the expected FEMA grant funding contribution of 75%, $43,481.25 of the project total for the Village Beach Road paving project to remediate damage caused by the August 18th, 2024 and August 19th, 2024 weather events by authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget amendment number 108 as follows. Increase budgeted revenue from line item H5031 interfund transfer by $14,493.75. Increase budgeted revenue from line item H4960.000.2 federal aid disaster assistance FEMA DR 4839 $43,481.25, and increase expenses for line item H51102053 FEMA 4839 Village Beach Road paving by $57,975. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mayor, thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Sylvia. Next up, Treasurer Gafka.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. I'm just going to go through some quick highlights. We did receive the draft capital asset valuation for fiscal year 2025, which would be the update to the fiscal 24 fixed asset valuation, which will also be part of this year's budget. That was the first one that I think had ever been done, and then we'll take the material weakness off of our audit, per our auditors. But we thought it would be prudent for them our auditors, R.S. Abrams, to review that capital asset valuation prior to finalizing and distributing, just to make sure that they didn't have any issues with what was inside of it. So I'm expecting that very soon. The preliminary AFR was uploaded to the state by the deadline. The AFR is what the state calls your annual financial report. It's what they use for all the villages, towns, cities to upload so that they have a comparison across the board for all municipalities. So R.S. Abrams took our preliminary data, uploaded it for the AFR. The state's going to have comments, and then once the auditors come in person, which will be at the end of the month to do their in-person work, they'll be able to adjust and answer any state questions and finalize, which will then also be distributed to the board. And I think a new New York State guideline is that the AFRs will have to be posted to the village website for public consumption. That's in part of those rules, like with the .gov. This was one of them. The state wants you to post what they're requiring you to do on your village website, so that will also happen. And I will work with the clerk on that. So we'll talk about parking. If anybody's noticed, and with a lot of thanks to DPW, there is a new spotlight that's over the old fields meter to highlight the security lighting, which was a recommendation by the parking committee. And we're looking to, and that's just for at night to kind of highlight the area. So that light was installed and put up, and I think, I believe once the parking committee has a chance to review, will likely be, no?
No. Nope.
That changed?
They don't like it.
That changed. Okay, never mind. So we're gonna.
Did we ever get any actual feedback from the parking committee?
That's.
I was at the bid
Well, they were
meeting-
going to
At the
review
bid
it,
meeting
yeah.
last night, yeah, there was like, nah, that's not working for us. We'll take a look.
Okay.
We're gonna take a look and see what,
Well, that's the first I heard that, so.
yeah, I know. Well, it was last night. Yep,
Okay.
so that's why I'm like, nope.
So it was a pilot program?
Right,
So it was a pilot program that we were testing out. And clearly we'll look at other options. Because
What didn't they like?
They thought it would just look like another streetlight. So it didn't give off enough of the glow that they wanted down on the parking meter itself.
Interesting.
I don't know. So let's see. I mean, to their credit, they're gonna take a look and see what they can find. So
Okay.
I mean, we've been looking. We've been looking. Yeah.
So we're gonna scratch that, and we're gonna talk about revenue.
Leave that one up. I mean, those lights were like $100. It was $100.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and
It
DPW
was-
did a
it
great
was
job
worth
getting
a-
it up, too.
It was worth looking at,
Yeah.
just attached to a current sign
Mhm.
pole, right?
Yes.
So it seemed like an easy fix, but just, they're looking for something else. Yeah,
And we'll go back to the drawing board, and we'll find something that works for everybody.
they're gonna look.
Or they're gonna
Yeah,
look.
they're gonna look.
All right.
So,
So, let's talk about revenue, and transactions. So, including the September period, and we talked about this briefly last month, in 2025, our total transactions for our meters is at 117,000. Last year in 2024, that number was 134,000. The biggest difference that I've seen so far was June and July, and part of May, towards the end of May. Our August and September are kind of tracking very similar to last year. So, so that's good.
Are you talking transaction-wise or?
Transaction-wise?
Okay.
Just the number of transactions on the meter. Revenue-wise, our revenue is up, 639,000 for this year from April through September versus 607 for last year. So we're kind of like on target for hitting the revenue projection that we did kind of bring down a little bit just to protect the village budget. So I think we will get there. To September was down about 1,100, which is really not statistically significant. So, and the revenue was up 8,900 over last year for September. So all of that's good, and we'll see how the weather holds up for the remainder of the year to see how it goes. I have scheduled the meters to update so that October 15th, which was part of the new period, it will be free parking Monday through Thursday with the Friday through Sunday rates only applying on Friday through Sunday. So that will be happening. They're set to do it overnight on the 14th and be in effect on the 15th. So we'll be tracking that because it's coming next week. So that's good. Obviously, I have the country club membership numbers in there. So 520 memberships, right? 520 memberships. We did have an additional 15 driving range members. So that brings like the total membership package to 535, which was down, as I think we discussed previously, down about 21 members over last year. So that's for various reasons. Our debt service payments are all set up to be paid. So we paid our October 1st, which was one of the biggest debt service payments that we have. It's over $500,000. That relates to the 2019 serial bond refunding that was done on that 2011 and 2013 bonds, going back for irrigation, the maintenance building, and some road improvements and sidewalk improvements that were done back then. The good thing is that next year is the last year the general fund has to make a payment on that debt service, and that will come off. So that's about $400,000 after next. So that's fiscal 28 will be the first year that we won't see this again. And we have another 3 years. So fiscal 29, I believe, will be the last year for the country club for this particular debt, and then that will come off. So that's good. We have the series, the 2023 band payoff that I was doing all those budget amendments for over the last few months. That is coming up. I had set that up for payment tomorrow, so that will go through. And then an interest payment on the 2024 bond that we took out, that will also go out by Friday. And for, just to touch on a resolution that we will be talking about for the next meeting. We have, I wanted to allow everybody, if you guys had any questions on some of those resolutions that are going to be coming up, instead of just going through each one of them. If there's any questions, I'll happily answer them.
I only have one question.
Yes.
Is the plain language inserted into those resolutions? Will it be when you present
it is, except for the first two that are on the work session that will be adjusted to reflect more plain language, and I will go over it again, and we'll make sure that it is very clear everything that we're doing.
Thank you.
And that's it. I'll open it for any questions if anybody has them.
Stephen, what was the revenue that came in from Lessings, from the catering hall to the village?
For
September?
I don't have September's number.
Do we have
Yeah.
August?
August number, I don't have it off the top of my head. It was approximately 12,000, a little more than 12,000.
Okay. And will you be able to get the September number at some
It's been requested. It takes a while for them to close their books and go through all of their numbers, but I have requested it as
All right.
soon as
Thank you, Stephen.
as soon as it comes in, it'll be updated.
Okay.
Someone that used to do the precursor to the AFR, the AUD, I know it's a lot of work, so thank you very much for doing that. it's not an easy thing to do, and I hope they may, I haven't seen the AFR, I hope they made that easier than the AUD, but they haven't.
No.
Okay. Well, thank you for the work doing that,
Yeah,
because,
the auditors are a great help as well, so,
but if you didn't get it ready for them, they wouldn't have had it, so
right, thank you.
appreciate your work.
Okay. Trustee reports, monthly reports. Let's start today with, Bob, let's start with you.
Okay, I was afraid you were going to say that, I got to just find my notes.
Do you want to
There
start
it
with
is.
somebody else? It's okay.
Yep, I got it here.
Okay.
All right.
Can I see this?
Sure. All right, so we'll start with DPW. Just going through a couple of highlights. They had a minor weather event beginning of September, and they removed a couple of trees, First Avenue, Fairway Drive. They cleared some the catch basins village-wide in anticipation of the rainfall. They were predicting, I guess, a total rainfall of 1 to 2 inches, so they did everything. They cleared basins in preparation for that. They worked on a couple of the events, as Sylvia touched upon, the regatta, dragon boat race, homecoming parade, and family fun run. Parking meter removal, as Stephen said, there are a couple of meters that were not being used and were obsolete, and they removed those. They worked on various concrete sidewalk repairs throughout the village. And also asphalt road repairs, filling potholes. And they had a couple of areas where the manholes were settled on Brewster Court, Jefferson Avenue. They removed old asphalt. It was a lot of work. Removed old asphalt, put new asphalt down, sealed the cracks. They also damaged one of the drains at Walnut Street. They saw cut it, blacktop. They removed the failed support structure and reworked that. They worked on stenciling throughout the village, power washing of the crosswalks over at the Salt Meadow Lot, because with the new sidewalks, there were crosswalks that were leading to nowhere. So they changed those around so that it wouldn't be confusing. Street sign repairs. Again, we talked about tree removals, a couple of dead trees that they removed on the village right-of-ways. And going to the mechanics report, mechanic's been working, he's been working on the Sanders, and also prepping, I hate to say it, but prepping, the trucks for snow. There, I said it, snow. You don't like the S word, but okay, so moving on to parks.
Before we move on to parks, is
No.
there a just a plan to replace the trees that had been taken out of some of the tree pits? I know it's not an easy venture to take the stumps out and replace them, but even if we could just do, a handful of those.
I believe the two trees that I spoke about, they can replace a tree in one of the locations. The other location is really not, a tree wouldn't thrive there. So, but the idea always is that when the trees are taken out, that if they can replace a tree, they would do it. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes you have to take the stump out, grind the stump, so the land has to be prepped before they can't plant a new tree right away. But it's always the idea to replace a tree where a tree comes out.
So
I was wondering
which
about
one
that
is the,
myself,
which one is the location where they,
Over by the old Chase.
Yeah.
Oh, no, over by
a
Chase
lot of
Bank.
utilities
Yeah,
under there?
Yeah.
Oh, so
And
they're not replacing it on that one?
I don't think so.
That's a bummer.
I think what they're going to do is put new sidewalk there. When Dale is working
Yeah.
on the tennis court walkway, I think that's when they're gonna go ahead and put in the new
Trustee
sidewalk
Giuliano.
piece.
I'm sorry, Mayor. Just to touch on weather events for this coming weekend, there are some predictions of quite a bit of rain and possibly high winds. So the code enforcement supervisor is working with DPW to make sure that teams know that there might be call-outs on the DPW side, and we'll have enough code enforcement on that side.
Good, thanks. Talking about the Chase Bank, I know they were talking about
Go ahead, sorry.
replacement trees. Maybe we could put a new tree in a different location, and then Chase didn't like the idea because of security reasons. So we were trying to see if we could put a tree in placement closer to the building, and then because of security reasons, the bank didn't want a tree going up there.
What's the concern?
I guess it was too close to the windows of the bank, and how their cameras go and everything. They didn't want.
I see.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, there was, yeah. Well, we weren't
Yeah,
good.
I do want, I understand, we don't live in a perfect world, but the trees are more than just aesthetics and environment, because
Absolutely.
as we talk more seriously about walkability throughout the village, and which really helps our businesses thrive, it's only going to get hotter every summer, so the more shade we can provide is going to make the village more walkable. And through my experience on public safety, speeding is a concern really everywhere. And for whatever reason, trees have this psychological effect on drivers to make the space feel tighter, and you just instinctively drive a little bit slower. And in that spot, especially, we do want folks not speeding.
Right. Yeah. No, we did look at it, and it was just.
Yeah.
There was, I think, a water main break when they took that tree out. It's like complicated under there.
Yeah.
But also, just FYI, and do you have more to report on your tree stuff?
Well, I'm gonna,
Then I
talk
will-
about,
I will wait
talk
for
about
you
the
to-
trees back here?
No, no.
Okay,
no.
all right, okay.
I don't know.
All right, so move on to parks before we get to talk about more trees.
Okay.
Renee's been working on the winter concert series. Dates have been finalized for that. They start February 6th, and they go through the end of March. There's something in there for every single person, taste in music. So check out the winter concert series. In September, 7,112 people entered into the village center. Renee's prepared the 2026 Farmers Market application, and that will be posted. The Adult Snowflake Softball League started September 17th. 6 teams are registered. All games are on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights. She's working with the school district regarding the rental of Spring Street Gym for winter and spring programs. Halloween event up at the country club. We had a meeting and concerning, we're bringing back the hayride, so we're going to do the hayrides. They're at the country club on the 31st. And she also met with Lessings regarding the actual Halloween event at the club itself. Hire balloon maker, face painting, supplies for the hayride and the party itself. As far as the parks report, met with the with Lisa Maddow, village grant writer, regarding the USTA, United States Tennis Association application for aid in rebuilding the tennis courts behind Village Hall here. Touching on the, we'll stick with parks, we'll talk about the Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec had a meeting, they had a great meeting. We got a great chairperson that is in there now. And he was working on coming up with netting along the third baseline, as well as replacing some benches. And it was brought to the Parks and Rec attention, the committee's attention, and they unanimously voted to approve spending roughly $12,000, a little over $12,000 for netting along the third baseline, as well as putting up some new benches at the softball field, at the Joe Erlin Field. They're hoping that this is money that would come out of the parkland money that's set aside. So, how do we go about doing that? Do we need a motion from the board, or do we want to discuss it first, or?
It's a spending request, right?
Yeah.
Did Matt Macarius actually get
Yeah.
those numbers?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
He did fantastic work, yes.
Good for
He-
him.
He worked with Dave, and the two of them worked together and got numbers and got, yeah,
Impressive.
Yeah.
What's the bottom line?
$12,233.40.
It's just the third baseline,
That's
Or
third
is it
baseline,
first
that's for
and
the
third?
nets, as well as for 9 benches.
but not first.
First, no, not first.
Yeah, so it would just be, a resolution. If this board would be interested in supporting it, the treasurer would help us understand what line item it can come out of, and so would the Commissioner of Finance. And parkland fees that are collected through development are parkland fees collected through development, right? So if that's something that the Board of Trustees feels is an important investment, then they would vote on it, and that's how the money would get allocated.
I spoke to
Vote would be
Matt
through
about the
resolution.
system. It's a pretty good system that he found. It's on a track system, it goes back and forth. It would be a good investment, I think.
Right, it's really
It's
just.
badly needed.
It is. It is
Yes,
really
no
just
doubt.
the initial outlay of money is to buy the netting as well as putting it up. They have to rent a lift
Pick.
to
And
get
it's,
it up
and
there.
it's a pulley thing?
And so, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So then at the end of the season, they'll pull it down and start and then put it back up in the beginning.
So, yeah, that's a resolution. I think you would hand over the documents,
Okay.
or Dave would. He'd hand it over to the clerk to help write up the resolution.
Okay,
And we can
Good.
vote on it in a couple of weeks.
next meeting, good. Yeah, so that was a fantastic meeting that Parks and Rec had. And their next meeting is November 5th. They meet over at the Village Center. CCE, there are a number of questions that came in as far as the bluff restoration project for GEI for the annual report. We addressed some of those, and some of those will be addressed at the upcoming meetings that we have with GEI and Hayduck Engineering at our biweekly meetings. The next CCE meeting is November 6th at 6 p.m. over at the Country Club. Tree Committee, the tree walk was last Saturday. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend, but from what I understand, everybody got their steps in, and they got their cardio done, and everybody had a good time and learned a lot about trees. They hope to review a draft proposal for code changes that will be forwarded to the Board of Trustees, but hopefully at the next meeting, they'll go over some proposed code change. It's in with Andy, and Andy's working on it, and it's going to get back to me and back to the Tree Committee. And they'll review that at the November 6th meeting, which is 7:30 here at Village Hall. They also discussed planting of trees at the Meadow Lot, which maybe was what you were touching on. They got trees that will be planted over in the back walkway of the parking lot. It was through a grant through PSE&G, and it was received through the chamber. So thanks to PSE&G, and thanks to the chamber, and thanks to the tree committee for working on that. New trees will be hopefully planted soon, and they'll take off, and they'll be the proper trees that will thrive in those areas. And they're also working on, with this CAC, a plan to remove Tree of Heaven. So Tree of Heaven, if you don't know, is where the spotted lanternflies like to congregate and spawn and populate. So there's a certain way to remove them. You just can't pull them out. You have to dig them up. They're sort of like bamboo. If you cut it, they grow 5 times. So the way they came up with the brochure for the removal of the vines, they're going to come up with a brochure for the Tree of Heaven. And like I said, they're going to work with the CAC on that. Conservancy. They're working on their fundraiser, which is Casino Royale. The date is November 13th, and they're going to be raising funds for the Jill Neese Russell stage expansion and refurbishment. They're going to be honoring Father Frank and James O'Connor from St. Charles Hospital, and they have a new website, pjconservancy.com. So you can go to that website if you're interested in purchasing tickets for the event. CAC, next meeting is November 14th. As I said before, they'll be working with the tree committee. We'll also be reviewing a number of referrals from the planning department, and we're going to be working with them to reset their goals and objectives moving forward, how they're going to proceed moving forward. And my next Saturday sit-downs are coming back now that summer's over. My next Saturday sit-down is this Saturday, October 11th, from 9:30 to 11 over at the Village Center. And that's my report.
How many spots do we have open and available on the Conservation Advisory Council?
I believe we have one spot plus an alternate. Oh, maybe two. Let me count. 2, 3, 4, well, no, one. We have one spot open.
How many members on that?
7.
So we have 6?
We have 6, yeah.
Okay.
And Bob, with
So if
respect
somebody's
to-
interested, absolutely, we can use the help.
Good, so everybody heard that. Yes, get involved.
Yeah.
All right. I
Make
just
a
had
difference.
one more question. We're going to be asking Renee for the Q1 room rentals because the Budget and Finance Committee wants to sort of line it up with prior year, and so we can start seeing some impact on were the rates, did it drive revenue or was
To
it a
drive people away,
deterrent, right?
yeah. Mhm.
So,
Okay.
yeah, just a heads up.
So do you want to talk a little bit about the plan to aerate Harborfront Park and the softball
Oh,
field?
yes, thank you. Yeah, so Pat will be working on aerating the Joe Erlin Field, and if,
So the superintendent of the country club facilities, turf facilities, golf course, is advising and working with the Parks Department?
yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Go for
So
it.
aeration, when you aerate the field, you pull plugs out. So the idea is they pull the plugs out from the Joe Erlin Field, which is fantastic soil. It's great. So they'll take those plugs, put them over at Harborfront Park, which is sandy soil, very poor soil condition. It will help that as far as, working up the soil, and then they can overseed the park area to bring that back. Because if you look, there's certain patches in Harborfront Park that is brown or grass is non-existent. So it's because of the soil condition. So by doing this, they'll be helping out the soil condition over at the park.
so Pat also said, turn off the irrigation
Turn
right
off the
now.
Right. He says it's
Oversaturated.
being overwatered, and
So they're going to overseed,
they're going to overseed. Yeah, after they put the plugs down, they'll overseed. And then the seeds will take,
in the spring, they'll
they'll
also.
overseed again.
Mhm. So how will that, they talked a little bit about it at department head, about how that will impact the use of the park in the fall, coming up?
Yeah, what they'll do is they'll close off, they'll have to close off certain sections of the park. Instead of closing the whole park all at once, they'll close off certain
Take it in
sections.
sections.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the park will still be usable, but,
He also recommended, Pat did, is in the heavy use times of the park during farmer's market,
yeah.
is to have the vendors move from location to location so that they will stake out a certain location because the vendors are like dumping their water buckets on the ground and they're
The hot
so-
water, it's the hot water.
Yeah, and
it
it's
kills
killing
them,
it's killing the grass. I mean, I know people make fun of me for caring for the grass and stuff, caring about the grass a little bit, but I think Pat has a plan that does make sense, and to move the vendors around in a way that sort of merchandises. You have to find them, kind of like a supermarket merchandising 101, but also will help restore some of the patches that, and keep it looking as nice as possible. We know there's going to be some wear and tear, but that's his recommendation,
Yeah.
and anybody have any thoughts about that?
It's like crop rotation.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it gives each plot time to recover. which is,
Yeah, I know most of the vendors don't like to move, so if we could just make sure that they know they're
Right.
going to be moved so that they can tell, because they have a lot of usuals.
Repeat customers.
So
Yeah, the
if they
regulars.
can tell their
Yeah.
regulars that next week I'm going to be over there, don't miss me.
Yes.
Or even if they could, even if they can just say, hey, we're going to be moving around, make sure you look for us, or something like, they just sort of give their regulars a heads up that,
So
hey, we're
part of the
still here.
conversation in department head was, so Renee has the management authority of the farmer's market, working with Melissa Dunstetter. So she was encouraged to get Melissa at the table. You should be at that table too, just to talk about planning for next year. And that way Melissa has a lot of time to talk to the vendors and explain to them what the goals and get their feedback. So there's no surprises this year, no surprises. So we'll see. I mean, that farmer's market's like incredible. It's, and it's a gem in the in the village, and we should do everything we can to keep the vendors happy, but at the same time, see if they'll understand they're farmers. They don't like grass though. They don't like grass, but so that's a meeting that kind of has to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I think if there's just a demonstrated commitment to rehabbing patches, not just only blame the farmers market, because I think one of the frustrations was, they weren't allowed to be on their usual spots, but then the rest of the week, anyone could have just traipsed right through. So I think that
Yeah,
was part
staking.
of it. Yeah, so like
Staking.
really protecting it, so
Yeah.
if they have to be displaced, it's truly
Yeah.
protected
They'll
and
see the
rehabbed the
visual
whole
Right.
week or 2 weeks or
effort.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I think that would be, if they're going to be a convenience, make it work.
Across the board.
Yeah.
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 Okay, good.
Oh, one other thing, I've been going to the department head meetings. I mentioned this before, and I just want to say it again. The cooperation and the collaboration with all the department heads is fantastic, and it really is, it's really a big help, and really lets one department know what's going on in another department, so.
And there's another meeting that happens that is very collaborative as well, and that's the post. You didn't talk about that. Have you ever talked about that, what you do? After the resolution meetings, agenda meetings?
So, thank you, Mayor, for reminding me. One of the newer sections, the new section in my report is called Follow-Through on Action Items. So, it's rather lengthy this month, and it will be every month. And it just demonstrates what happens after a meeting, because everyone leaves here and the meeting's over, but not for the clerk's office. So for our office, we have a lot of follow-through. It's follow-through on paper, it's follow-through with meetings, it's follow-through with Mary and onboarding, it's follow-through with civil service. So you'll see, everyone can see in my report what needs to be done following a meeting. But I also have scheduled a meeting, post-meeting. So what happens is I literally take the agenda from our agenda meetings at the end of the month and host a meeting for everyone in the departments who's able to attend. We go through the agenda items. We talk about the importance of those items to the various departments. For example, one of the things that happens is we have a local law. So we pass a local law, okay? So now the process continues. Now we file paperwork that needs to be signed and sealed with the Department of State. Now Department of State has to approve our local law. Once that happens, we need to go back to, for example, DPW and say, okay, we can install the signs now. So at the agenda follow-through meeting, as I call it, we all sit together, collaborative, similar to the department head meeting. And again, everyone is discussing their part of what's happening in our village. So thank you, Mayor, for reminding me of that. And thank you to Mary, to my deputy Mary, to Kelly, Marissa, Rita. Clearly, everyone is just a tremendous team. And so thank you to all of them. for making everything happen after our agenda meetings happen. And that includes as well Teresa.
I think there's a lot of positive that comes out of that meeting,
Absolutely.
because the planning and the understanding of what happened, how their lives are affected over the next couple of weeks and months is important for the staff to understand, based on decisions made here in this room. So, did you mention the JCAP grant application?
I didn't know, but there's an update to that. Elizabeth will be filing for that, I believe Friday.
Just about the subject matter
deadline?
of what the project is.
Oh, I did, I think last time. Yeah, I think last time. Railings, and we're looking at railings, we're looking at, and also in terms of collaborative efforts, if everyone can take a look at the chandelier when we leave this evening. It's the first time that it has every single bulb, and all the bulbs are the same.
Same color.
And it literally took a village, and our employees also washed the glass casings, so that's another effort.
That's unheard of.
It is actually.
And they're so happy.
And they're thrilled. And they're
Yeah.
thrilled.
You had a hand in that too,
He
right?
did. He's holding the ladder.
He's
He
the
was-
ladder holder.
He was spotting Jarrett.
And, no, so it's the ADA ramp
ADA ramp.
that will now be, like, if we get that grant, we'll be able to start the work of bringing it, into full compliance.
It'll be properly sized and have what Elizabeth calls the bumpy material that is required at the end as well.
Yeah, and so I think the judges are happy, the court's happy, the justice court's happy that the grant is going to continue to get improvements to the outside of the building now that the inside has, come up to a nice, but this is nice, that's necessary.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of ADA stuff and cement work and everything that has to go on out there.
And the door is working now, right?
Yeah,
Look
And
at
the door's
yeah.
working.
and the door is, guess what? Open.
Yep, the door's working.
Good.
Form and function
Front door's
everywhere.
open, back door's
Perfect.
open. People can actually walk in with a baby carriage into the front door.
Yep.
So that's a happy day. Okay, Trustee Franco.
The school district has had an amazing, back with amazing again, month. They were a national blue ribbon. They were supposed to be presented that from the federal government, but they closed the program, so the state is going to honor them. Only 0.1% of schools nationwide received that. It was an amazing accomplishment by them. The high school is ranked fourth in Suffolk County, 77 in the state. They earned a spot on the STEM high school. They're ranked 51 nationally. They just had, last night I attended the Board of Education meeting, and they awarded community volunteers, the students in the community. There had to be 30, 35 students that volunteered hundreds of hours. It was a really nice experience. We have some really nice parents and children. They're doing a great job representing Port Jefferson. We also, another award the district received was the PTA, and the elementary school received, we were the #1 ranked HARP literacy program winner in the county. So they started a literacy program, and the PTA started it, and we're the #1 ranked one in the county. So a lot of accomplishments by the school district. We had our meeting. At the meeting, I had spoken to Trustee Ugrinsky. The committee got together, and they would like, and the superintendent and the president and vice president of the Board of Ed were in agreement, they'd like an administrator to participate with the power plant working group, to be part of a stakeholder in that. And I spoke to Trustee Ugrinsky about it, and she was amenable to having them attend. So I'm going to relay that information to the school district and see if we can coordinate them coming in and being part of that process.
Yeah, in fact, in preparation for that, we can take sort of the tactical steps offline, but the meeting on the 28th is going to be very focused on the glide path settlement agreement and what's happening. So we're doing what we can to ensure that we're meeting with LIPA in the interim.
Perfect time for them to be there.
So it's, yeah, I mean, we're all stakeholders in this thing, so, yeah, look forward to including them.
And the school district kindness awards, we have 6 representatives from the school district. I passed the information along to Sylvia, and hopefully next week sometime we'll be able to make these presentations, or the week after. I spoke to Trustee Giuliano. He's going to attend with me to do the presentations, and I was hoping that we could alternate a different board member and yourself, Mayor, if you'd like to come and attend, to do these presentations to the kids at the schools.
So we have a sample. We have a sample in my office ready
Great.
for you to look at. What is the date of the next? What is the date of that?
The date of the presentation, or I was waiting, I don't really have the date set yet. I was just waiting to see when we had the certificate prepared, and once I have that, I can set a hard date with the district.
Okay.
But I'll coordinate that with you tomorrow. They'll give me an answer tomorrow.
Thank you.
And that's my report.
Did you all discuss the Longfellow Lane complaint?
Yes. Well, I'll do the school district portion of it. Yes, I spoke to the school district. They are going to put out an alert to the students because they have a designated parking area on the campus, and they're going to remind them that that's where they are to park.
Down below the
Correct.
bowl, around the bowl?
Correct. So they're going to remind them, around the bowl or somewhere, they have a designated area for them.
What
I
about
did-
the visiting team?
It's difficult to say where they can park, but they're recommending that they do park in the parking lot by the bowl and walk up. I did speak to Chris, the complainant, and he understood that, the Longfellow is part of the community, and there were going to be times where, that block is going to be inconvenienced with additional parking. So he understood, he was aware of it, and it seems like he was satisfied with the district alerting the students. I went to the Public Safety Committee, and I'll let Kyle take over from there.
Yeah, and then, sorry. Thank you, Trustee Franco. And then part of that conversation, and I'll, jump ahead to a few things. We're looking at updating the alert system software that we have. So some of the vendors that we're looking at, you can just put up a Google Map kind of screen and drag a square or a circle or whatever
Geofence?
shape you have, geofence it, and send alerts that way. So once we have once we're in contract with a vendor that can actually do that, we can send out alerts to work with the school to remind residents nearby there's XYZ event going on. So if you want your car off the street because of that, here's when it's going to be. There's no plan set in stone on that, but that's an idea or an opportunity that we would have if we had a more advanced system.
Was there any discussion about the schedule going out, advising the residents on Longfellow, Emerson, the frequent flyer areas that get impacted most, that here's what you should look at and look for in terms of more parking on your street, to be aware of it, so, I don't know.
Well, I think we could use the alert system to do that notification because we wouldn't have to. I know it would be. It's a hassle for us, and it's.
But the alert, okay. So let's talk about the alert. What you're seeing, is it to be used just for general communication or for emergency management communication?
Both. So it could be there's a parade. Your street's going to be closed between these hours. Or it could be to the wider village, Main Street's closed because of the parade for these hours. It's, it's going to be our choose your own adventure. And people can opt in and out. It'll depend on which one we land on. Assistant Supervisor Flamia and I have been kind of doing demos with a number of vendors over the last few weeks. We have 2 or 3 more on Friday. And it does look like we have found one that's going to be the right choice for us, keeping an open mind as we finish out the search. So I feel good about that. And I think when we switch, it'll be much more doable to do these things.
Okay. Like can be just a routine communication
Right.
tool?
And it could be, I mean, we could set up, ideally, we would probably set up like a protocol where the school says, we would like, here's the event, here's where we think it's going to be effective. Could you please send the message?
And do they all require opt-in? Or is there a?
They're all slightly different, or not, they're not all slightly different. Some yes and some no. The one I think we're going to land on has both. So you can send out emergency to people off your list, and then there'll be an opt-in for
Okay.
that kind of
All right,
more.
I'm getting ahead.
Yeah.
We'll wait. I'm sure it's going to be very interesting to hear. What's the deadline for that we need to do that by?
It's a few days into the new year, but we're feeling good about it.
It's not an automatic renewal to Code Red on Solve.
It's not, yes, it is, but we are within that deadline.
You have to let them know within.
We're working
yeah.
backwards. And also, at some point, the week of the 13th, we're just going to have a phone meeting with them as well, or a
Mhm.
Teams meeting. So
Give
just
them a
waiting-
chance?
Yeah, just waiting for everyone's schedule because they do have upgrades, so,
Is there any penalty for closing out that contract?
no.
All right.
And then so a little bit of these were discussed at the Public Safety Advisory Council that met on Monday of this week. One of the other things that we discussed that's more ripe is moving a street reader again. If you looked at the data from the one on East Main, it actually does show that there is not speeding happening there. Certainly there's incidents, but generally it's 100% compliance rate. The speed limit is 25 miles an hour there, which is, you could certainly argue to be slower on that high foot traffic area. But there was really only 2 violators, and the number of total cars that go by would have that at 100% compliance with the speed limit there. So the council was comfortable moving it to another complaint spot that we've gotten not recently, really since the council's been meeting, but there was a more organized effort from some of the neighbors to request one. So that's Thompson Street. So they made a recommendation to move the one from East Main to Thompson,
At the
going
Towards the top?
towards the top, but I think going downhill, and I will double check exactly
There's
what they
skid marks
wanted.
on that road.
Yeah, exactly.
All the
Yep.
time.
hmm And then we also learned that that's the path that Danford's valet takes. And if you've ever seen a valet driver, they try to be quick.
Yeah.
So our code enforcement supervisor, Kevin Cooper, had a conversation with the manager there.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Um,
So Thompson and, okay, so go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's it on speeding. Did you have a...
Yeah, what does it look like on Brook?
Right. So we have only I think this is only a week's worth of data because it's only been up for a few days, but it's a 53% compliance rate. It's 15 miles an hour on that road, and it does go downhill. Trustee Franco and I joined Charlie Backfish, who lives on the block, to observe it. And certainly people are, trying to get to wherever they're going during the morning rush hour.
Is it the mornings that are most?
It seems to be the mornings. But max speed was 46 miles per hour in the time that we were looking at. About 3,000 vehicles went by. The average speed was 25. The speed limit's 15. So it is over, and considering it is a school, I think we can leave it up for a little while and then try to figure out what the options are. It's just tricky since it's a hill. So speed bumps our understanding is speed bumps are not necessarily advised depending on the gradient or the grade. So we'll figure it out. The interesting thing, or the thing that I found to be the most interesting with the speed readers, is really about a third across the, regardless of where we put them, at least a third of drivers slow down as they approach the speed reader. And that was consistent even when it's left up, as we saw with the one that was on after Loretta Gate, or before Loretta Gate. And that was been up for about, I think, over a year. So, and it was every month you would see it was still that, you know, 30
So the trailer's
something.
over there now, right?
Yeah.
So they put that trailer up.
Yep. And then on the walkability front, we're teaming up with Rebecca Cassay's office regarding the, I think it's like 200 feet between Beach Road and Arlington. It's Arlington up there. So this has been,
Bayview?
but Bayview's in between where the
whole-
sidewalk would need to go. I think it only goes up to Arlington, and then everything after Arlington to Beach.
Correct.
And then there's truly a corner on Beach that
Gotcha.
is
Yeah.
like they have the not a driveway skirt, but the equivalent to it that is done.
ADA
Yeah, like it's
sidewalk.
done there. It's like the ADA sidewalk is done to no more sidewalk. To nowhere. Yeah, it's quite bizarre. So we're gonna put in the hard ask for DOT to do that sidewalk. This is a conversation that's been happened once before, but it's all new cast of characters. So hopefully, get that process formally going again.
There was a condition, right? Like a potential condition?
Yeah. So so it's a state road over there, which is a key part of this story. But the village maintains anything that the state would do. So I guess like our, similar to Main Street it's part of the same road, and we maintain the sidewalks there.
And maybe you know this, or maybe you don't, but I wonder if we maintain West Broadway from Arlington to Longfellow or whatever, wherever it ends, Jane, or I don't know if it ends at.
I think it goes all the way to Hoyt.
Hoyt.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we maintain that whole sidewalk.
I think we do.
Can you find out from?
Yes, I believe we do.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually through this, I found an interesting TBR article from, I think, about 12 years ago when they were talking about doing that piece of it. So
it'll be interesting. I hope the state agrees to do it. Yeah.
And then our next Public Safety Advisory Council meeting is November 3rd at 7 o'clock, and that's a Monday right here in Village Hall. And then I'll just go through the stats from code enforcement from last month. So there were 17 online complaints received, all were anonymous. There were 7 code infraction investigations, 8 incident reports prepared for complaints received via the code phone. So you can text or call the code phone. Always like to remind folks. Late night activity in the Gap and Baker's Alley parking lots continues to be addressed. There have been no complaints for disorderly groups or excessive noise from vehicles in the last 3 weekends. If that has not been your experience, please do let us and Suffolk County PD know. And code continues to cover both the lots every night after lockups. Additional night shifts have been added, working until 2 a.m. So that's a really big, important part of the story. We now have our Supervisor Cooper's hired folks specifically for that late night shift.
Yeah.
So we will have folks on to be helpful when they're really needed for these specific issues. And then an arrest was made by Suffolk PD personnel for reckless driving. An increased vehicle and traffic law enforcement has been noticeable difference. So I've lived pretty close to the downtown area, and I've noticed certainly a few more patrol cars coming through. And then Brenda Batter, who manages one of the local Facebook groups, found someone commenting that Port Jeff is no fun anymore because there's police everywhere. So, of course they're not everywhere all the time, all at once. But I think the 6th Precinct has definitely been responsive to our requests, and we appreciate what they've been able to do. And I think that is it for me.
Do you want to talk about the DRI application a little bit? We'll talk about it together?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But so I guess you could, Zena, go ahead and then I'll. Okay.
All right, since we were last talking about the country club.
Leave my gun.
There's always one. All right. September and October at the country club was, we've wrapped up a successful season. The leagues concluded, both of them. Labor Day weekend was the final mandatory carts, so the team has already started putting those things away in anticipation of just swapping them around, right? So just to minimize any maintenance that they need before we swap out for the new ones, which is, I think, January when we received those. Monday outings, there were 3 of them, and also went very well. I think we don't get reporting, or we haven't gotten reporting yet on the financial results of those, right? Are we from Lessings? Sunday Social had very strong participation this year, which is nice because it's sort of a nice, relaxed, sort of community-based golf, event, regular event. In the pro shop, I would encourage everybody to go have a look around because we're doing inventory reduction in order to make room for next year's merchandise, and it is the perfect time to get, a new pair of golf shoes at an incredible price, which I also just did. Yeah, but what's important about the inventory conversation is that we are gently moving into a monthly inventory cycle, so that even that is now, because inventory is an asset, right? And I don't think we had sufficient controls on that, financial controls, so that's starting to just become part of the ongoing operating procedures. And then, talked about that. Columbus Day, holiday rules will be in effect. There is a men's beefsteak shotgun event. It will be closed, the course, October 20th for that event. And I've asked for that to go out to the membership sooner rather than later. We've had we could have some improvement in the advance notice that the membership gets for certain things. And so we're sort of getting into a better cadence in terms of lead times so that people are not surprised. I think the aeration closure that was supposed to be 1 day and wound up being 3 days is a perfect example of that. So if you had a tea time on Wednesday or Thursday, you were not a happy camper that week. So correcting that. We talked about the carts, and the only thing I want to add to the golf course stuff is if I haven't already gotten you the agronomist report, it is an interesting read. So I think you've already gotten it, right? But Bob, have you seen that yet? Okay, let me make a note to get that out to everybody. One of the things that was notable on that to you, and I'm sorry, I will get that to the clerk for distribution to the group. One of the things that, one important announcement. We are doing the early bird this year, so that was something that a lot of folks were asking about. And the reason I brought up the agronomist report, thank you, Brain Cells, for waking up, is so if you read that report, based on the course conditions that we have, the recommendation was 500 members. So we are actually right within what would be considered a volume that would protect the course conditions for everybody. So that was good to see, and that's all I have on the golf course. But because you were talking about the nets, right, we have a couple of things that we have to look at and are looking at. And that is, I'd love to know a little more about the nets we were just discussing, because we also have a net situation at the driving range. So there are a couple of different fixes that we can think about, but, we're just making sure that we're looking at all of the possible solutions for balls going over that driving range net. So, it runs the gamut from lowering the actual driving range where people stand, to getting a higher net, to getting special distance governed balls. So
Governors on golf balls?
governors on golf balls,
Okay.
yes.
Restricted flight.
Restricted flight golf balls. So those are some of the things that the Board of Governors is looking at, that the superintendent of grounds is looking at, and that's actually a good transition to that. So there was aeration done, and similar to what. First of all, it was awesome that Pat and DPW and Parks are now sort of coordinating on the usage of those plugs, because the golf course uses them for other areas also to enrich the soil. We continue to have issues with the irrigation system, and we are actively trying to nail down a date for the blowout and getting the air shock into that pump so that we know the well is clean. And hopefully that will reduce some of the issues we're having elsewhere on the course with irrigation. And that is everything for the golf course. So before I move on, any questions?
Yes, Trustee Ugrinsky, quick question. It seems like during this meeting, I've heard the Board of Governors are intimately involved in quite a few of the aspects that are going on at the golf course. We've asked multiple times, people in the community, for bylaws and elections, staggered elections, and it has been ignored or dismissed. I know that former trustee Laux had presented bylaws that were, from what I understand, were passed along for review and have just seemed to fall through the wayside. So what I'm requesting is that we have bylaws instituted and staggered elections started pretty soon, rather than delaying this and not addressing the issue. So is there a plan to put bylaws in place, and do you have a time frame? Because it's been years now that we haven't had them, and they've been running without structure for 2 years now, approximately.
So I would say probably within the 4 weeks of the start of the country club consulting engagement. But I also think that with some attorney involvement, we can get that done, in that time frame.
When you say we, are we talking about the country club management? Who's going to organize it?
Well, you're talking about the Board of Governors right now, right?
Correct, but I'm talking about who's going to put the bylaws in place to oversee the Board of Governors. Is it going to be the Board of Governors themselves, or is it going to be the CCMAC?
So can I just interject here
Sure.
for a second? This board just voted to approve Kemper Sports as the consultant for the country club. This board, Kemper Sports, is reporting to this board. So they're not reporting to the CCMAC. They're not reporting to the Board of Governors. They're reporting to this board. So this board will be have the oversight of the outcome of that study and those recommendations. And part of that assignment is to develop bylaws for our governing bodies, which are the CCMAC and the Board of Governors. So no one here has the expertise, and no offense and all due respect to former trustee Laux, that was not his, that's the job for an attorney, a lawyer. Lawyers develop bylaws. And so we were just kind of like feeling around in the dark, and we knew this was coming, so that's what we were anticipating to happen.
So Kemper is going to establish the bylaws, as you just said, for the Board of Governors and CCMAC? Is that what just sort of
This
clear?
Board of Trustees,
Well, they're going to make a recommendation to us.
They're going to
and
make a
that-
recommendation. We're going to have an attorney do some of that work, or
They
at least
have
do a
attorneys.
review.
they
Okay.
have attorneys. So
And
let's
I have a
let them do
draft
their
that
job.
was forwarded to me by Stan Lau, because I met with the mayor to discuss them. It is a draft, and an adolescent draft. And at that time, as the mayor stated, we foresaw that this inevitability was happening, that a country club management system advisor would be here to help work us through those. So
Yeah.
they didn't fall by the wayside. You weren't here.
It was deferred.
But they weren't poof, just no one's going to work on them. It was vetted, it was discussed, and the discussion was to hold off until we get some more expert opinion on it, which is now forthcoming.
Right. Ergo, my 4-week comment.
Fair enough.
And the other question you had was staggered Board of Governors elections. So there is a staggering coming up. It's already been executed. I mean, the Board of Governors have terms.
Right.
And each member of the Board of Governors has signed up for a specific term, and the staggering is a 3-year staggering over time. So I think there are a few that are coming up for election, spots that are coming open for election this year.
And the CCMAC is following the same process.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions on the course?
Elections scheduled, though?
Pardon?
Are the elections scheduled for the Board of Governors?
No, not yet.
Last time they took place at the closing, the end-of-year event function. So I can't
So it
remember
makes it
when, but it's November or
November or
December.
something, yeah.
So it is something that has to they have to put that on their agenda to move forward with.
Yeah, that's actually soon.
It is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Okay, Budget and Finance Committee, are now turning their attention to a project the treasurer requested, and that is an evaluation and working with our auditors to look at all the ways we can potentially reduce our cost of capital. Another way of saying that is how do we improve our bond rating, right? Or our credit score as a village. So looking forward to having that set of individuals start thinking about that.
How is our bond rating?
I was just going to say, what is it?
We're AA3, and we have so the last Moody's rating that we went through for last year in 2024, they said that the village has the capacity and the underlying criteria to be AA2, but we don't have enough reserves, we don't have enough fund balance, and we needed to go through this accounting correction that we've done. So now that we've kind of gone through that, we're working on now how do we put the safeguards in place that we permanently start building up these reserves to then firmly establish that AA2, and then maybe one day reach for the stars and go AA1 and potentially AAA at some point in time.
And one way of doing that is every time we do improve our rating, it reduces our cost of capital, which means we can put money aside, right? And so that's going to be an interesting project for those of you who are finance geeks, like some of us. Let's see, and we're going to do the rec rates analysis. We're going to start looking at, now that we've got a quarter under our belts, we're having the department heads all look at where they stand by line item for Q1, which is sort of a good, standardized natural convention for that sort of an analysis. Doing it for a village our size, doing it every month would just be overkill for these guys, right? So it makes more sense to do it quarterly. And power plant working group we already spoke about. So yeah, that's going to be interesting also, because I think this impacts every resident in the village, and we're 2 years out, within 2 years out. So so it's really time that we understand what LIPA has planned to do with the power plant. One additional power plant item is, as you know, we were considered for the hydrogen pilot, which went to Northport, but we are still in the running to be, because of our designation as a deep water port, we are still in the running to be the site for the hydrogen production that would happen. And, for anyone who doesn't know time in the utility industry, it runs in like 5 to 10 year cycles, okay? So anything that I'm discussing right now is probably not going to be happening for another 5 years. That said, the pilot has now begun at Northport, which means they're beginning to procure and do various other things to get ready, get the site ready. And I've been invited as the Board of Trustee representative for the village to sit on an advisory committee on that pilot. So for the Northport hydrogen pilot. So I've
Wow.
been, with Bob Cattell. So,
Whoa.
yeah. So I
He never
will.
cease to amaze me.
So I'm looking forward to reporting back on that, because that's more, sort of a longer term implication for us and the power plant. But for now, the short term is going to be focusing on what happens with the end of the glide path and having a seat at the table for whatever happens. So.
Do we know what advantages Northport had over us? Why they chose Northport? Was there a grading system at all? Or
There was
just
more
because of
open
size?
land that
Yeah.
wasn't near
Yeah.
high voltage cables that
Mm.
could be damaged
Okay.
during testing things that we've not done here yet. So safety.
Right.
It was really safety. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That concludes my update.
Great, thank you. Just a couple things. Big announcement. If you're not doing anything Friday night, please feel free to attend the free open house community event that Lessings, Port Jeff Country Club, Lessings is hosting at the Country Club facility from 5 to 8. It's cocktails with the community. It is literally an open house. They're offering an opportunity for residents, non-residents, members, non-members to come and see the facility and to welcome our community into the newly renovated building. So
What are the hours?
5 to 8.
5 to 8?
Mm-hmm. It's very similar to the happy hours that they
Yeah.
that they hosted all summer. There's no sponsor for this event, and it's in the main ballroom area. So come and see what this place looks like. It's incredible.
I think one more thing about Lessings that just triggered a thought. And for those of you who don't know, Port Jeff took home the Scavoa Golf Trophy this year, so it was bittersweet for me because it was taken from Amityville, which is where I grew up.
I would think that would be highly satisfying.
But it's bittersweet. So. And yes, courtesy of actually 2 MVPs right here.
Oh, I think the other Deirdre Chicaro.
Wait.
Did I say her name right?
Cicero.
Her too.
Tomatoes,
Yes.
tomato. Deirdre came through in the pinch on
Oh,
many,
she
many,
did
many,
on.
many opportunities.
So
She had a chip in for a birdie. She did. Yeah, on 17. Anyway,
It was fun.
it was fun. It was good. It's rewarding to get the trophy back. You know, we did a lot of business that day. Engineering firms were there that are working for the village. And this really had nothing to do. This was a Suffolk County Village Officials Association outing. But the people who came to dinner thereafter and lunch there before, Steve Engelbright sponsored a whole. He came. We had a long conversation about the Tooker House. The engineers who are working on the long-term planning solution for flooding in the village were there, L.K. McLean Associates. We had a great conversation with them. I spoke with the mayor of Amityville, who also is, who the village of which is a recipient of the downtown revitalization program from the state, the grant program from the state for $10 million. They're in the middle of their revitalization effort, and I think it would be a great opportunity to have a field trip there to see what their, so the village is applying for this grant. This board voted on that application process to be supported by VHB at our last board meeting. So we met with VHB this week to talk about next steps, the initiatives, the potential projects for submitting the application. If we get that award, I think it would be incumbent upon us, members of this board, to go visit Amityville to see, and people in the community to go see the challenges that Amityville is facing in executing against that grant. And the grant is, it's complicated, but we apply for the grant as the village, but we're the sponsor, and we have partners who do sponsor different projects that would potentially receive funding for the projects that are determined. This application in general is really an initiative to connect the two commercial districts between the C2 Uptown South Village and the C1 Downtown Village Commercial District, with major projects, partnering with developers, landlords, parks, and not-for-profits in our region. Like, for example, and this is something that I think Amityville did, or Hempstead, they have a theater in their village, and one of the projects they put forward was to revitalize their community theater. One of the projects could be to revitalize, help fund and revitalize the stage down in Harborfront Park. One of the projects could be to restore the sidewalks down Main Street to make it more walkable, and a streetscape component to that, working with the state, because that's a state road. And what's the name, Kyle, what do they call the changing the facades?
Facades,
Yeah. So the facades of you walk down East Main Street, and East Main Street has come alive with beautiful design approaches, aesthetics to their facades on East Main Street. We could work with Main Street to do the same thing, and maybe, I think one of the things you mentioned in the meeting was like Chandler Square as a pilot for that. So all speculative, but all going into the application. And if we receive funding and approval for the application from the state, then you actually take each piece and you work specifically with the sponsor as the village and put together the plans that actually could come to fruition. So it's exciting. Did I forget anything?
No, I don't think you forgot anything. The only thing I'll add is I think the scale is actually like really big. It's not just sidewalks. It would be like kind of all these things all at once, and then it could be like something extreme, like a trolley system between uptown and downtown.
Intermodal.
Like something like, so we actually are connecting those two. And if we wanted to do a parking garage uptown, part of the conversation was, well, no one's going to park uptown to hoof it downtown, but if there was a trolley system,
Yeah.
maybe it would work. And then revitalizing Mill Creek and like actually making it a destination,
Promenade,
not just
as you
like
say.
a promenade where
Yeah.
you go. I always use the example of it would be a great date spot where you go pick up ice cream and then you walk around the creek. Right now, it's kind of the where the businesses put their dumpsters, and then so it's not utilized to a way where it's actually a feature of the downtown. It's just we're kind of squished around it. So there's a lot of opportunity to reimagine the best version of what Port Jeff could be.
And we're optimistic because there's been a lot of investment already in the South Village corridor. with some new multifamily residentials, and that's kind of what the state looks for, we're told, to consider applications. And there are 2 multifamily residential locations in the downtown district too. So that's the walkability, TOD, kind of effort that they're looking for. So exciting, but managing expectations is also important to do at this time because grants come and go.
Mayor, I know you went down that rabbit hole talking about the SCOVA outing. And if I could just back up to that for a second. As a former high school golfer, it was super refreshing for me to see, even though a day of an outing and everything, that the high school had a bunch of golfers out there, using the driving range and training and doing all that. Shot me right back down memory lane. I thought that was great that they have the access to their own municipal course in their own municipality, which certainly I did not have.
Private course.
Certainly I did not have growing up in Selden.
No, we've got 6 tournaments that we're hosting at our golf course, and yeah, it's fall, so the boys' team is out on the driving range and out on the course. So yeah.
So what is the status
next
of
generation.
that MOU between so that we sort of do recognize and showcase how we share, resources and assets? What is the status of that?
So I think the next step here is for Trustee Franco and I and Sean Leister to maybe pick that thread up.
Because didn't Sean say you guys don't
that was
give us
the last go around. So I think, I think
we
we
don't use your facilities, so we don't need an MOU?
I think we're probably going to have a different conversation this time around, right?
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And so
I
we've
hope-
got
I
a
hope
draft of
so.
a
I
letter
hope they recognize that.
that we'd like to walk through with Mr. Leister. And
My brothers played for the Port Jeff High School team and used that course for free.
Yeah.
Has always been the home of the Royals.
Right.
Port Jeff Golf. Girls and
Unfortunately,
boys.
it's
We should
other
have a sign up
villages-
there that says that.
Other villages charge the high school $10,000 to play on their courses, right? So it's just another benefit that we are,
No,
we
and
need to
in all
at
truth
least
and honesty, it's-
acknowledge.
when the country club was purchased, it was for this community, and the high school golfers were to receive that, and that was something my father used to repeat over and over again. And if people say the high school team should pay, not this mayor.
No, that's not what's being suggested. What's being
Not-
suggested is just at least acknowledging the quid pro
Reciprocal.
quo,
It's a reciprocal.
right? The reciprocal nature of the relationship and solidifying it in a memorandum of understanding.
A
So
letter of-
I just thought it was cool.
And it was, and it
Thanks,
was.
Dave.
but Trustee Franco and I will take that forward together.
We agree. We love to see them. Okay. So the DRI application, the tree walk. I did attend the tree walk. It was really good. It was. I hope they do it every year. And Bob Larrabee was fantastic. Handed out a bunch of swag, and we learned a lot. We saw a lot. It was well worth it. So any time they want to do that again, I would highly recommend. Even though you might know everything you think you know about trees, you learn more. And they also talked about the importance of devining, the English ivy issue, which is every block you walk, you see trees that are covered in English ivy, and it's killing the trees. So anyone that
Makes them more susceptible to falling too.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
the
That's-
ivy catches the wind,
Yep.
and there's no
Nothing to
structure
hold-
to hold it up. Yeah.
So we actually did reach out to DPW. So Parks and DPW both have initiatives where now they will be proactively, when they have time, clipping the ivy vines. So Parks in parks, DPW on the right-of-way in the roadways. So The other thing we talked about, and this is, I don't know if you want to take the lead on this, is to create a hang tag for that DIV divining brochure, sort of somehow figure out how to create that as a door hanger. So when the tree committee is walking around looking, they can hang it on somebody's door who may not understand that this ivy is not decorative, it's destructive. So you can work with maybe Fran and, I don't know. Okay. So we experienced the first day of Christine Yasso, who was our new horticulturist. She's going to be working 1 day a week, as this board voted on at the last meeting, to approve her position in the village as the village gardener. And so she had a full day on Monday. She came in with her list ready of priorities, first, top, middle, bottom priorities, sort of low-hanging fruit to more long-term challenges. And so she's going to be working on looking at the beds around the village-owned beds to highlight where and how weeding could take place, et cetera, et cetera. It's, in the weeds. I don't want to get in the weeds, but she's going to be a great asset to this village. And everyone that I talk to about her is very excited. And we're just trying not to let anybody steal her before she even gets started. So the Beach Street and Tilcon initiative, I don't want to forget that. I mean, I want folks on Beach Street to know that we continue to talk about that, and we're looking for ways to resolve that. We discussed the possibility that, I guess, Tilcon approached us to ask if we could sweep their streets. We talked to our council about it, and what was the outcome of that conversation?
The research indicates that we certainly can offer for sale, let's just call it that, municipal services. The problem with Beach Street is, will it help? If we go out there and do it once a week, is it going to make a difference for those residents? I don't know if it would. So that's.
We really don't have the resources, in other words?
Not for what I think that area needs.
Yeah.
But the viability of doing it, and it would also have to be done when we're not doing other municipal work, which is
always.
Always.
Never. Yeah.
I think the point probably around the Beach Street, or the message to the residents, is we are actively evaluating ways to tackle this. And so this is not something that's now fallen by the wayside. This continues to be something that we're working on.
Compliance is probably the first priority of the neighboring business and their clients, right?
Holding them accountable for their stuff.
Yeah.
Dust included.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, today, and this is the last thing I'll talk about because I want to move through this quickly. There was a forum at the Village Center today hosted by the Long Island Sound Partnership, and the topic was climate resiliency, and they had invited Port Jefferson to present. So I had the opportunity to present this afternoon about all the efforts that Port Jefferson is taking. First, to do a quick history, thanks to the last 2.5 years where I've been sitting in the Campani and Schwarting presentations and learning more and more about our climate resiliency initiatives and what was left by the past administration of initiatives that were at the precipice of getting underway. Now we're getting them underway, including the downtown flooding reduction study that is coming to fruition, and the plan that's getting ready to be presented. We're inviting L.K. McLean to come in and present their findings and their plans to this board, probably looking at December, January. And don't hold me to it, but and then also looking at the GEI proposal for the East Beach Bluff Phase 2 project. We're looking at that to happen potentially targeting in November. So I don't know if that will be the end of the month meeting or the beginning of the month meeting, but that's the goal. We are told that the 90% plan of that project is going to be presented to the village trustee liaison, myself, and the village engineers on Friday. And so I don't want to get ahead of it, but I'm cautiously optimistic that we will see a 90% plan and be able to provide some feedback to that. Friday is October 10th. So we're working on a backward schedule. And in that proposal and that plan will be a near complete 90% scheduling of that working backwards to have this board vote on it one way or another if it reaches that level this year. So anyway, GEI was at that meeting, was at the forum today, representatives from GEI, as well as representatives. These were not on my invitation. It was on the invitation of the Long Island Sound Partnership Organization and Sea Grant and Cornell Cooperative Extension. But Lawrence McLean, LK McLean, had a representative there at one of the people that was working on our project. Also, Campani and Schwarting were there, and people from our erosion commission were there. So it was really great to see so much interest in this forum. It was a full day, basically, of presentations, a full morning of presentations. I presented at 1:30, followed by a tour of the flood-prone areas of Port Jefferson Village. And can you believe, like, people came? But at the end of the tour was the brewery. That was the carrot.
right, yeah.
It's like, so anyway, Fran Moshe, who was fantastic, our graphic designer, and our planning team. I mean, Parker Moore, who was our planning aide, and Andy Freeling, and Peter Scully, Haydock Engineering's environmental consultant for the village, all helped put this presentation together. And I'd be happy to share it with you either in a forum like this at some point, because it does go through history, and believe me, I was very self-deprecating. I mean, I'm here 2 years and 4 months, and I inherited a lot of the information that was developed and cultivated over years, decades. So it was pretty daunting to stand up there and like talking about things that I'm really still learning, but it was like my PhD dissertation. That's kind of what it was. So we'll see what the jury thinks. But the walking tour, we worked with Chris Ryan at the archive to get some really cool old photos of flooding, and we also reached out to some of the businesses in the community to share theirs. But mostly this is from the archive. Mostly these pictures are from the archive. We have extras, and I'll just get Fran to give them to you. But the tour was well attended. I mean, I was kidding, but it was well attended. You saw us in the.
I did, yeah.
And they were fascinated by it.
I actually really wanted to go to that, so I was very disappointed to not be able to. But I did drive by on Main Street as the group was discussing like the area in front of Danford's. Yeah. And it was a pretty sizable group, so yeah.
We walked across, and we walked past Castaways, and there's photos of Mill Creek being like totally saturated, covered in like a pond, and Castaways here. When we walk past Castaways, you can take a look. Mike, the owner, was standing outside, and I'm like, Mike, can we take a look at your floor? Because they put in a cement poured floor with some special surface material over it and they graded the floor backwards towards the back of the building instead of being set up in the front of the building. Anyway, he let us walk in. He told us what they did. Same thing happened at Theater 3. Jeff Sanzel was there, the theater director, artistic director. He welcomed us into the Griswolds area and talked to us about their flooding issues. So it was great that the engineers who are working on our flood reduction study plan were on that tour. and he saw in real time what was going on. He saw the water table underneath Theater 3 outside. We walked past the firehouse. We walked past Brookport, where that river was running through the Brookport. Yeah, so anyway, bottom line, everybody got a lot out of that tour, including me, trying putting it together and working with the team to get all this information together. So it was very rewarding, and we'll see again what the jury thinks. If I pass and I get my master's or my PhD, I'll be happy. Just shout out to everybody who works in the village, the DPW, parks. Everybody's really. I mean, people have come up to me and said, the mums look incredible. The village looks beautiful. Christine and I have other thoughts. Like, we walk around, you see the sidewalks, you see the areas in Chandler Square that need help. We're getting there, and I think this is going to be a really great experience for her and us. The bid, we had the bid meeting last night, and the Economic Opportunity Task Force also met, and there was a presentation there that I'm going to bring to this board sooner rather than later, I think probably at the November work session. And it is to do a survey of sorts to see what the village is missing, what the major employers in and around the village want to see. I think I've talked about this survey before, but I think it's fine-tuned to the point where this board, I'd like to present it to this board because there's a financial commitment to getting it done, to getting the analytics done, and that's the next step. So that's what I'll be bringing to the work session next month. And the bid's going to come to us with some things. They presented their budget, and so I think it's important, Stephen, for you as the treasurer and Zena, you as the commissioner of finance, to meet with the president of the bid, understand what the numbers look like, what they mean, what they're spending. They talked about, and I'd like an opinion on this, Mr. Moran, if you know the answer tonight. If you don't, it's fine. But the bid is Business Improvement District. They're their own district. They're funded through taxes that are collected by the village, and they receive the money from the village, right, to fund their programs. So it's legislated by the village. Does this board, if they want to increase their tax base, their tax, what do you call it? Levy? Yes. Is that a decision? Is that a decision of this board, or is that a decision of the district itself?
Before I opine on that question, I'd like to speak to the treasurer and get a better understanding of how that money flows.
Yeah, and not only that, I'd like to understand what the difference is between last year. Last year, we sat with James and went through it.
They haven't raised their levy in 12 years.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's about the same, but, what additional things?
It is the same. It is the same. So they're going to come I think it's important for you to meet with the treasurer of the bid, which is Marion Ketchum, and James Luciano, who's the president, and understand what it is they're trying to do and some ideas that they have. So if you guys can set that meeting up, I don't need to be in it.
Okay.
But I would love to hear your reactions and feedback. I'm happy to be in it, but
We'll do it and report back to the group.
and so this board does have a nominee outstanding for the board of directors. It's the trustees nomination. I think I mentioned this the last two work sessions. So, put your thinking caps on, see who you think would be ideal. I think did you send out the list of the members of the bid, the directors on the bid to this board of trustees, and the criteria for whom is eligible and what. So please work among yourselves. I'll come up with a couple of nominees as well, but they may be looking for more because the elections are coming up next month. So they may be looking for more than one. I think James is going to do some outreach to see if if the people who are currently on the board still want to be on the board, people who haven't actually been attending many meetings. So he's done that assessment, and we'll come back with openings. But they have a lot of the appointments. We have, the Board of Trustees has one, the mayor has one. So I have to talk to my appointee and see if he wants to continue on, but, yes.
I was gonna ask, what's the eligibility criteria?
It's in the document. I mean,
Okay.
it's complicated, it's defined.
But they have to be a business owner, or it could be.
There's different categories: landlord, business owner, and business, yes. So that could be the same, business owner and tenant could be the same, but. So, do you want to resend those out just in case? Okay, bring it to the top of the email box. Okay, so that concludes my report, thankfully. Wait, what's this? Oh, just a reminder, I don't know if you all saw it, but St. Charles Hospital is formerly St. Charles Hospital, now known as Good Samaritan University Hospital, St. Charles campus. So that, yeah, yeah, which helps their Medicare, all their, what do you call it? What's the word? Reimbursables and stuff like that, yeah. Everything related to purchasing and reimbursements through Medicaid and Medicare and et cetera, et cetera. It's a business decision. So, and they're affiliated with the LIU DO, Osteopathic Medicine School of Osteopathic Medicine at LIU. So just as an update, if there's any confusion, that should move through the Department of Health, New York State Department of Health protocols, probably in 10 months to a year. But they announced it recently, so I thought you'd all want to know that when you refer to St. Charles, it's now Good Samaritan University Hospital, St. Charles campus.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Probably some acronym, something like, I don't know what the word will be. And I'm not going to try and figure it out. So, okay, next up on the agenda.
Attorney Moran, Mayor has a brief initiative for board discussion.
I want to begin the discussion, Mayor, on the rental code.
Okay.
I'll be circulating to the trustees comments and recommendations from the rental committee that was formed a while back.
Short-term rental.
It makes recommendations to both the rental code, short-term rentals, as well as the bed and breakfast code. I'll circulate that if you guys could review it. So when drafting, I have an idea of just because it might have been the intent of the committee doesn't necessarily mean it's the intent of the board. There are some things in there that when the formal discussion happens, I'll explain why they can't be implemented. But for the most part, it's all doable. Some of the things that need to be discussed is what is the number of days on a short-term rental that this village would allow, if any? Is it 14 days? Is it 28 days? Is it 30 days? Ban, if that's your intent. So I would like to start that discussion now for next season and hopefully have something in place by the start of the year. That's all I'd say.
So what's next?
I'll be circulating those recommendations from the committee that was formed. If you don't already have them, I'll make sure to put them in the top of your email boxes for your perusal, and you could respond directly to me instead of taking that time up here with your comments and concerns and questions once you receive it. And I could put together I could pull all that information together and maybe be able to work through some of the issues that you may or may not have, just in the interest of time at this table.
Will you also include any of the background information statutes that might help inform our read of their recommendations?
Are you
Or at
suggesting
least
that if they
point
pulled
us at
something
them?
from another municipality?
Yeah, or they're referring to ours.
Sure. Their recommendations are pretty comprehensive. but I'll make sure you have everything you need. And if there's something you would like to see once you receive it, I will make sure I get it for you.
Okay. Next up?
Mayor, next we have a brief executive session,
Okay,
okay, and we do not intend to come back,
okay.
okay?
All right, Chris.
So, we need a motion, please, to enter into executive session at 7:58 PM.
Motion.
Discuss
Sorry.
negotiations,
Okay, we know you're eager.
I have EMS tomorrow.
performance of a particular employee. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Second?
I will
Second.
highlight the brief in a second, yes.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Wait.